You may think that one day if you become an emperor, then you can decide everything.
Yeah.
But once you become a real emperor, you will realize that's not true. The emperor is more like a job. And in front of you, there's a huge mountain of bureaucracy that you can never climb over. This courtyard has been locked since 2016 because the building inside is too dilapidated. It is likely to collapse. It is very unsafe to the visitors. There lived a high consort of the Emperor Wang Li in the Ming Dynasty. Before she was a consort, she was just a palace maid, serving the emperor's mother in her palace. One day, the emperor went to visit his mother, but his mother happened to be not there. So this the young, beautiful palace maid has aroused the emperor's interest. The emperor slept with her, and afterward, he told the palace maid now to tell this to his mother. Normally, this is not a big deal, but the emperor thought that was disgraceful, having an affair with a palace maid. But unfortunately, this palace maid, she was pregnant. This palace maid's belly started to show. The Empress Dowager found something not right. So she asked the palace maid what happened. The palace maid could not keep this secret anymore.
Yeah.
So she told the truth. And after hearing this, the Empress Dowager didn't feel surprised because such a thing was not uncommon if it happens on the emperor. Right? But this time is a little different. According to the ancestral rule, if the empress had a son, then this son should succeed. If not, then the eldest son should. The empress did not have a son yet. So if this is a boy, then he could be appointed as a crown prince. And his mother, this palace maid, should be given a title of high consort. This is not what the emperor wanted. But the emperor had no real affection for this palace maid. Their encounter was just an accident. So the emperor's mother asked the emperor what was his position in this matter. And the emperor wanted to deny it, but he couldn't deny it because everything about the emperor's sexual life is recorded in a note.
Oh, really?
Called the Notes of the Emperor's Daily Life.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Every details about the emperor's sexual life, when and where he slept with who.
Yeah.
These were all recorded in the notes. So after seeing these notes, the emperor had to admit it. But he added, he said, she is just a palace maid, meaning that I don't care if she's pregnant or not. But the emperor mother said, she is a palace maid, so what? A statusful son will make his mother respected. So you can grant her with a title in the future, can't you? Several months later, this palace maid gave birth to a son, and she was given a title, the High Consort Gong. But she did not live a happy life after that because the emperor had a favorite consort, the consort Zheng. She also gave birth to a son several years later after the consort Gong. The emperor wanted to make this son the crown prince, but he was strongly opposed by the civil officials. Which son to be the crown prince, does it have anything to do with the civil officials? This is purely a family affair, right? Why it is so important that the emperor's first son should be the crown prince, but not others. This might not be that important if it is in other dynasties, but in the Ming Dynasty, this is so important. In the Ming Dynasty, the civil officials, they like to confront the emperor in many ways. It has been a tradition among the civil officials. It seems that this is a way that they could show their courage of being as a real literati, and also a way to gain more voice in the court. So the appointment of the crown prince remained undecided until the emperor's first son is already 20 years old. So the emperor's mother was very worried about that. She asked the emperor one day, what are you waiting for? Why haven't you made your first son, Zhu Changluo, the crown prince? And the emperor said again, she is just a palace maid. This time, the Empress Dowager was so angry. She hit his walking stick on the ground and yielded at the emperor.
Really?
She said, don't forget that you are a son of a palace maid too. What does that mean? Since this Empress Dowager, when she gave birth to the emperor, she was a palace maid too. So you may think that one day if you become an emperor, then you can decide everything. But once you become a real emperor, you will realize that's not true. The emperor is more like a job. And in front of you, there's a huge mountain of bureaucracy that you can never climb over. The emperor could not even decide which son to succeed him. let alone deciding everything. So
that's
finally, the
something
emperor had to compromise.
Right.
You know, he finally made his first son Zhu Changluo the crown prince, but apparently he didn't like him. So this Kengzi Gong was accommodated in this palace called the Palace of Great Brilliance. It was a very remote area. And the emperor never visited them. This mother and son, they had to endure a day and another in this cage-like cold palace. When this emperor grew up, the mother and son were cut off. They could not see each other anymore. Kengzi Gong, she was so sad and she cried every day. And finally, she became blind for crying too much. She wanted to see her son one last time. Finally, the emperor permitted the crown prince to see his mother. And the emperor stepped into the courtyard. He could not imagine how his mother spent a day like a year here in the courtyard, day by day. And they hugged and cried. And next day, his mother left this world. Zhu Changluo, this crown prince, he lived in the Forbidden City for 18 years as a crown prince. And finally, he became a real emperor. But guess what? He stayed on the throne for 29 days and died of sexual pills.
Oh, no. Okay.
Can you imagine any other person who is even more unlucky than him?
Yeah.